Recording. So welcome back, guys. I hope you all have practice. That's very important. So please do religiously practice whatever we learn every day. If you don't have time, at least cover it on the weekend. You have 2 days. You know uh, next upcoming, so use that effectively to practice and let me know if you have any doubts. Good. I hope you all have understood what is an IDE and we all have downloaded Intellij. If you are facing any issues, please let me know. These are all very simple softwares, so if I explain how to install them, it will be like very spoon feeding thing. So if you still face any issues, please let me know. Yeah, once you download that, you can open that Intellij. Okay, so what are the program that we wrote in Notepad yesterday? We're going to write the same program with the help of this particular IDE. So it has a lot of features when we're going to understand what it is, and we're going to run our first program using Intellij, right? So we are not going to be using any of the Notepad or Notepad++ anymore because that's not reliable. You'll understand why, right? So good. Once you can see the screen, maybe you will not see these recent projects. That's absolutely fine, but hopefully you can see the new project on top. So you can learn about the open or get from VCS later point of time. I'll come to what is version control system at the later point of time. But for now, as long as you can see the new project window here, it's well and good, right? So you can click on top, click on it. So this might pop you up with another window. So we're going to create a new Java project. Okay. So if you notice on the left menu, we have a lot of options. So though we have going to see about Maven, Gradle, and all. These are all different dependency management, and the IntelliJ also supports Groovy as a language and Kotlin as a language. Again, guys, if you know Java, Groovy and Kotlin also based on JVM. So it's all Java based languages. So you can also learn them. But in now we are not going to use this. Okay, so you can have the liberty to use Java, Groovy, and Kotlin in the same project. Okay, one class you can have in Java, one class you can have in Groovy, one class you can have in Kotlin. So you have that liberty, but for now we are not going to touch any of these languages. All we have to do is click on Java and also choose the version. Hopefully you should see this project SDK is having 1.8. If you are not seeing that, okay, then you can go to add JDK and go to the program files, Java. So where you have installed your Java, right? So choose the JDK folder and then click on OK. Once you do this, it will be listed here. Okay. So and then after that, you can choose that and click on next. Okay. So now in this window, you don't have to create it from a template. So you can directly click on next. Now this will ask you for a project name. Yesterday, if you remember, we have created inside Java folder, right? So we have created inside Java folder. So the same way, today we want to create a folder first. Yesterday we have created a folder called Java. Today maybe we can create a name called as my first Java project, something like this. Okay, you can have your own name. That's absolutely fine. But basically, this project indicates you are creating a folder. That's it. Yeah, very simple. And click on finish. Once you are done with this, IntelliJ takes a little bit of time to load. Maybe if you are doing it for the first time, yeah, it can also give you some tips. For now, you can close these windows. So as long as you can see the name that you have given here, and you can see a SRC folder, you are all good. Okay. So this dot idea is you know is automatically created by IntelliJ. You don't have to really worry about it because this IntelliJ needs to understand what kind of project you are using. All those stuff will be stored inside dot idea. So if you even go and open this, okay, it has a lot of other things. Okay, what is other settings needed, but these are all things you don't have to worry about. So all you have to worry about is there is a folder called SRC. So this particular thing is now actually located in this particular location. So C uses testy, and there is a folder called testing Selenium project. Inside that, my first Java project. So yesterday we have created inside documents and Java. Today it's inside C users testy, and there is something called a Selenium project. Inside that there is another folder called as my first Java project. Okay, so it is here. So if you notice, we are inside this and there is a folder called src. So imagine this src is now your Java folder. So inside this, you can go and create. So either you can come and create like this, or you can basically use IntelliJ and create a new Java class. So right click. So you have to do right click, new and Java class. So yesterday we created a notepad and then we saved it as a test.java. Here you don't have to do all these things. IntelliJ has that feature. Okay, you just select Java class. Now you just need to tell the name of your class. Yesterday we created test.java. So today also we'll create the same project. Okay, test. Here you don't have to end with .java because IntelliJ is smart enough to understand if you are going to create a class file, it needs to be ended with .java. So you don't have to type it yourself. So click on enter. Also, if you notice, it has created a file called test.java and it has opened a new window. So this window is also having already this public class test, which means so whenever you're creating a file, it will automatically create a class with the same file name. Because yesterday we didn't have this feature. So if we even go to the documents Java, we have typed this yesterday ourselves, right? So we have to go there. We typed the public class test and then this everything we have typed ourselves. But today, as as soon as you create your class, it automatically creates it. So we need only two more. Okay, these two more lines we need to create. Guys, please go on mute if you are uh, not asking any questions. Okay, guys, please log in with a proper name, guys. Please don't use guest. Okay, it will not be easy for me to identify who you are. So you might be pulled out if you are using some guest names. Please use the name that you have used to register. Okay, that's very important. Good. Now we have to write these two lines of code, right? So let's go to the IntelliJ. And yesterday we typed all these things manually: public, static, void, main. We typed all these things manually. But in IntelliJ, you can either type this manually, but better is you can type main, which means it understands it's a main method, and you can press enter. So once you do that, it automatically types that for you. Okay, you don't have to type this and waste your time. Okay, that's the advantage of using an IDE. Okay, it can type that for you. And after that, what we have written a system.out.println and then hello guys. This is the code with that we wrote, right? So now let's go here. Either you can type like this, okay, or you can type like this, hello guys, everything yourself, or there is a simple way. Okay, you can type s out. Okay, which means you want to print something out to the console. This is a shortcut. Okay, to to enter that big line, you can just type s out and then enter. Now you have the option to type whatever you want. So without I spending a lot of my efforts in creating this open braces, close braces, all that, it has actually helped me to write my code. Again, if I delete this, okay, see, it is telling some error here. Okay, so it is highlighting in red color. There is some problem with your code. Okay, please fix that. Okay, it is telling. But yesterday when we removed this, if you notice, there is two open brackets but only one close brackets. Though it told error at the compile time, but it didn't told me earlier because these doesn't have the intelligence to find out these errors. But IntelliJ has the intelligence. Okay, that's very important. So when I add this error gone, everything is done. So Amudan, yesterday we have written the code like this. That's fine, but you have compiled that code. How IntelliJ going to help us to compile the code? Again, guys, you don't have to do two steps. Yesterday what we did is we did Java C, and we have given test.java, which basically changed that, created a test.class. Then again we wrote, ran this Java test, right, to run the produce this output. But today there is a play button here. You can click on that and then you can click on this run button. So once you do this, it will automatically do these two processes for you. You don't have to remember the commands and all that. So it has actually done that. And if you notice, the console is here. So in the bottom, it will display you the values that, the output of the program. So this how the IntelliJ will help us to write our code. So this has a lot of intelligence that can help us. That's very important. Okay, Amudan. Yesterday it created a test class, test.class file. Today I could not see that where it is. Okay. Obviously, if you go previously, there was no out folder. It was only SRC. Now it has created an out folder. Inside that there is one called for production. Inside that there is my first Java project, which is same like this. And then there is a test.class file. So if you notice, this is test.class. Yesterday it was not decompilable. Today it was decompilable. So this is the code that we wrote, public class test. This is the machine understandable code, but it is again converted back to human readable format by this IntelliJ idea. Okay. And if you notice, there is a default constructor. We will come to that later point of time, but there is a small difference between the code we wrote and the code which is here. Okay. And also if you notice, there is no, this line is not taken into consideration, because whatever you wrote, you are writing after 2 slashes, it is treated like a comment. Okay, it is treated like a comment, and it will not be executed. So it will not be executed. These lines will not be executed. Good. So now this folder structure is not really important. Okay, you can customize this folder structure, but this is a good practice that is being followed by developers. You can have your test.class file anywhere from your test.java file. It is not mandatory that these two has to be in the same folder. Even if I just ship, suppose I want to send it this to Manish or Abhishek, okay, I can just email them this .class file, and then they can run from their side. Okay, so there is no hard rule that I have to keep these two in one particular place. There is no such rules. Okay, so that's very important to understand. If you also want to make a different folder structure, you can go to project structure here, file, project structure, and go to modules, and in the paths. So if you notice sources paths here, you can use module path and then change the path. So for now it is using project out dot production. Sir, see, out production my first Java project, out production my first Java project. So you can customize this path to whatever the path you want. Okay, if you want to create in the same folder, you can remove this. But if you create in the same folder, it will cause confusion whether it is test.java or test.class. That's the reason they always create in a different folder. Okay, so whatever the folder you create, that doesn't matter, because Java C compiler and the Java is available globally, because we have already set the path. Okay, so yeah, so you don't have to really worry about it. Suppose if I delete this wood folder, you can go and delete this folder. If you delete this folder, if you run it again, you can run it from here. You can also run here, or you can also run from here, or you can right click and you can also run test.main. So wherever you run, you will get your output. Okay, that's very important to understand. I see a chat. Yeah, good. Now, once this is done, I hope you all can understand. But there is a reason behind what this main method. There is very significance involved in this main method. What is that? So for now, I don't want to explain each and everything. What is public? What is static? What is main? What is this? All that. If I explain this now, you guys will be confused. Okay. So we don't have to really understand this now. Just believe me. Just understand only one thing, that this is the starting point of the program. Okay. Whatever you write between, okay, between these two curly braces will be executed. Suppose, let's assume I also want to execute something else. Okay, I want to also system dot out. Okay, you can either type this fully, or you can also use yes out. Okay, I also want to tell hello guys, testing mini bytes. Okay, something like this. So now you all can guess what is the output. Okay, obviously it's very simple output. So if you notice, this has printed hello guys, this has printed testing many bytes. Okay, it's not like you can only print words. Again guys, there is a reason behind why this word is enclosed in double quotes. Okay, if there is a word, okay, in programming languages, if there is a word that is enclosed in double quotes, it's not a word anymore. Okay, it's not a word anymore, it is called a string. Okay, it is called a string. So string is just a collection of characters. Okay, it doesn't have to be more meaningful like this, it can be like this as well. Okay, it can also have special characters, all that. So a string is basically a collection of, it's basically a collection of characters. Okay, it can also have numbers, it can also have special characters, whatever, right? But they are all basically called as string, because in programming world we call them a string and not word. Okay, all these string are always enclosed with double quotes. Okay, so just understand this for now. Okay, that's very important. Any doubts so far guys?
The play button is not enabled for me. For me, it says add configuration.
Add configuration.
I
Okay. Mhm.
The play button is not enabled actually.
Have you added the JDK and all in the first step when you created the project?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, we will rectify that at the end of the
Okay,
session. Okay,
sure.
maybe we'll have 5 minutes. If you are using Intellij for the first time, maybe there will be some config settings that I missed to
Mhm.
explain will be there. So we'll it will be helpful for others as well. So we'll cover that at the end of the today's session. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now what we can do, once this is done, okay, we can, it's not like you can always print this. Okay, you can also print numbers as well. So if you want to print numbers, you can type either fully or you can type s out, and then I want to print 5. Okay, now let's see what's the output. So if you notice, 5 is also getting printed. So 5 is a number here, but you can also convert this into a string. Okay, like this. So this is not a number, this is a string. Okay, if there is a number that is enclosed in double quotes, it's always a string. Okay, it's not a number. But if it is not enclosed in string, it is a number. Okay, again you can do, suppose you want to add numbers. Okay, I can do 5 plus 2. Okay, so let's see what's the output. Okay, so you all can guess 5 plus 2 is 7, so the 7 is getting printed. So you can use the 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 mathematical operators here in programming languages as well. So you can, it's not only you can use plus, you can also use minus, you can also use you know multiplication. For that you have to use asterisk symbol. You don't have direct multiplication symbol in programming languages. We use asterisk to denote them, and you can also use slash for division. So can anyone guess what would be the output for this particular line? 5 by 2.
2.
Okay, let's see what's the output. Yeah, so it's a good answer, but if you are not from a programming language, you normally would have told 2.5, because by default all these calculations will happen at treating your thing as integers. Okay, integers, you know uh, in normal world, in real world, we only have numbers, right? We only have numbers from 0 to 9. Okay, we don't treat them differently, whatever, everything is a number. Maybe we call numbers with decimal points as decimal numbers, right? We call decimal numbers, but they are all again belongs to number. The same way in programming language, we have some differences. Okay, uh, we have more differences, but for now I'll tell you only important things. One is integers, we call as int. We also have something called as double. Okay, okay, there are other things like short, byte and all that, but I'll come to that later. For now, whatever you have as numbers, you can treat them as integers. So integers are basically numbers without decimal points. Okay, they are all they don't contain decimal points. Suppose if you want to have a number with the decimal point, then you need to use double. Okay, so yeah, we'll come to this, but there is also one more thing, one more operator that I want to explain. What is this? Okay, there is a percentage operator. So what does, can anyone guess what it is and what will be the output if I run this code?
It would print 1.
Yeah, it will be one. Can you explain why? What is
Yeah,
that?
because this is, yes, because this is the modular division, right? I mean, it will print the remainder. So whatever the 5 division by 2,
Yeah.
so the remainder is 1. So it will print 1.
Yes. So it will, what this operator indicates, it's a modulus or remainder operator. Okay. So you can use this to find the remainder of a division operation. So we have the quotient, that we have the divisor, divisible, all that things, right? So so the divide symbol will give you the quotient, but the modulus symbol will give you the remainder. So if I divide 5 by 2, we have a remainder of 1, so the output will be 1 here. Okay, so yeah, so that's how it is. Let's try to run it. So the same way you can use all these things. Okay, and more importantly, we need something to be stored, right? So suppose let's say I want to use this multiple times. Okay, I want to find 5 divided by 3. Okay, I want to do for all these things. Okay, 5 divided by 3, and I also want to, okay, 5 plus 3, 5 minus 3, all that thing I want to do. But if you notice, I'm repeating the same thing again and again. Okay, and tomorrow instead of 5, I want to just change it for 6. So I need to go and change in all the places to 6, right? So I have to do like this. Okay, this is really hard, right? So this becomes little complex, and I need to, if there are 100 lines of code, I need to go and edit each and every line of code. That is really hard for me. So if, what if there is a way, I can store this in something and then I can use it, you know is there any way? Yes, that's when you have a concept called as variable. So what you can do, instead of directly hard coding 6666, what I can tell, I will create, okay, int a equal to 6. So what is this, Amudan? I don't understand this. Okay, in normal if you, everyone would have done max in their graduations and schools, right? So what do you do? We do, if let's assume x equal to 5, okay, y equal to 10, we do all that, right? So we are doing the same thing here. Okay, we are doing a equal to 6. Okay, you can also have this as x, that doesn't matter. So we'll have this, let's assume, right? So we are also assuming here, let's say x equal to 6. Okay, but why we are adding int before? So we need to tell Java, hey Java, I'm trying to store a number into this particular variable. So here x is a variable. Okay, x is a variable. Okay, and 6 is value of x. Okay, and at the end, integer is the data type. Okay, I also need to tell what kind of thing I am storing in it. Okay, imagine you have your kitchen and all that, so you have containers. So you'll store, suppose let's say you want to store some chili powder, you put inside a container, right? So you need to tell, hey mom, I'm going to store chili powder in this container, right? The same way we're telling Java, hey Java, I'm going to store a number, a integer type into this, right? So as I told, in normal world we call it as number, in programming world we call it as integer. Okay, suppose if I want to store a number with decimal point, we call it as double, right? So I put 6.3. So now it is throwing error. What is like, hey, you are telling it's an, you want to store it as a int, but you are giving me a double type. Okay, so you need to tell exactly, if it is a decimal point, we need to tell this as a double. Okay, but we'll come to that later. For now, I'll put it as x and change this to 6. So wherever I want to use 6, anywhere in the program, I have to simply use X now. Okay. So now if you run this code, so again 6 modulus 3, the remainder will be 0 because 6 is again divisible by 3, and we have 6 by 3 is 2 because this is a quotient. 6 plus 3 is 9 and 6 minus 3 is 3. So this is how it is, right? Suppose I want to change this now, I don't have to go and edit in all the place. I can just change it here. So now if I run this code, it'll still produce me output, so I don't have to really worry about it, right? So this is the advantage of using a variable. So if you want to use a, a, a number or a string in multiple places, you better store it in some variable and then use it. We call it as a variable because it has the capacity to change, which means so the X value will be 7, 7 here. So now you can also go ahead and change X equal to 8 here. So if you change it, so until the 13th line of code, your X value will be 7. So the output will be 7 modulus 3, that will be 1. But after this point of time, we are reassigning the X value. Hey, okay, I made a mistake. I don't want the X to be 7. Now I want this to be 8. So I have changed the value now. So now it will get changed. So this is how it is, right? So now if I go and run this program, so this is 1, but if it is 7, the 7 by 3 should have given me 1, but it is given me 2 as the output because X is now changed to 8. So this is how you can change the values of a variable. We call it as a variable because it is basically means variable. So you can it means you can change the value of it. Okay, you can store it, and then later if you want to change, you can change it, right? Good. Now we have understood how we can do a simple print statements, and if you notice, they all getting printed in new lines. Okay, they all getting printed in new lines, for us to easily go through it. But if there is a method that if I use print, okay, instead of println, okay, then this all will be you know uh, printed in the same line. Okay, good. So let's try to run it and see the output. So if you notice, this is first it will print this, and then it will create a new line. Ln means it's a new line. So after printing this, it will create a new line. Okay, so it has created a new line, and the next statement will be printed from here. Again, this will print this, and a new line will be created. So now testing many bytes is also printed, and new line will be created here. But if you notice, it's printed 1, okay, and then it didn't create a print new line, okay, because we have just used print method, so it didn't create a new line, so it will get appended. So the next output, that is 2, is just getting added here, though it looks like 12,115, and it's not 12,115. It's basically problem with the way how we have printed it, right? Could you can also use print if you want to highlight something. You can also use system.error.println. Suppose you want to tell, hey, my program if you want to highlight something like this, okay, you can use error and then you can highlight it. So if you notice, my program may crash, right? So this is how it is. And now we have seen about addition operation, all that.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Why it is printed at first my program may crash?
That's what it's an error, right? So the error gets the precedence, and that's the reason it printed on top. Okay, but it shouldn't have. Let me compile this one more time. So this time it has printed correctly. Maybe last time because of the window alignment. So let's try to run it again. So it's getting printed correctly now. Yeah. Even if I use println, everything it works. Last time maybe because of the window size, it didn't see if we maybe it's because of that. But if you notice, it's getting printed at the top. See, sorry, the bottom. It's the last line.
Thank you.
Okay. Now what it can do, we have only speaking about the addition, multiplication of a number. What we'll do, I'll remove all these things. Okay, so let's remove all these things and let's speak about strings for some time. Okay, let's also remove this. So previously we used int a equal to 5. Okay, and all the statements in Java should needs to be ended with semicolon. That's a rule which I forgot to mention, but yeah, you should be in a position to understand it. All statements should end with semicolon. Now if you want to store a string value, then you have to type string b equal to 10, so whatever, or like say testing. Okay, so what I can do here, see the int is all small letters and here this is a capital. I'll come to what is primitive data type and reference data type later, but for now you have to type S in capital letters. If you mention this in small letter, it will throw error. Okay, because it's a class and it has to be capital. Again, you cannot use the same variable name. Suppose here you have already used a, which if I try to use a again, Java compiler will throw error because it doesn't know whether the a value is actually 5 or the a value is actually testing. So you need to be really clear about using a variable that is different from existing ones. Okay, you cannot use a variable that is uh, already used, so you have to always choose a new one. Okay, good. Now instead of a, I can put it as b. Now I want to do a print, so I can do system.out.println print. Okay, so it is printing me this. Now I want to do some concatenation, so let's say I want to print testing many bytes. So instead of me typing like this testing many bytes, okay, instead of me typing like this whole, I already have a variable that is having testing. So in that case, I can basically remove this. Okay, I don't have to type this. Now I can just say b plus. So what happens, the b value is testing, so at runtime this will be copied and it will be here. So I'm basically adding these two words, okay, these two strings. We are not actually adding it, we are actually concatenating. So which means you are joining them, you are joining two strings. Okay, it's like you can come imagine like a train compartment, so you are joining different compartments. So it's like that. So if I try to run this, it again prints me testing many bytes. Instead of this, okay, I can just say me. Again, whenever you are referencing a variable, you don't have to enclose them with b. If you enclose them with b, you don't see it is highlighted in green color here. Okay, which means this is a string. So if I run this now, it will tell b mini bytes. Okay, it will not tell testing many bytes because it's a string. Okay, so now if I just change to b, see, if you notice the color here and the color here is same. So even if you select this, it will also highlight the other location where it is used. Okay, so now if I run this, it will say testing remains. Okay, so this is how you have to work. So now can anyone guess what will be the answer for this? So I'm trying to add
Five
the
mini
number.
byte.
Sorry,
5 mini bytes.
5 mini bytes. Okay, let's say, what is the answer for this?
5 mini bytes testing.
Okay, good. So as long as you can understand what is happening, that's really good. So if you notice, we have 5, so when you try to add a number and then a string, so the output will be string. Okay, so let's say I want to add a and 5. So can you tell what is the output here?
55.
Yeah, it may look 55, but it's actually not a 55. But yeah, whatever you told is correct. It looks like a 55. Yeah, so now this is good, right? So when you're trying to add a string, so this is a string and this is a number, it becomes a string altogether, right? If you try to add 7 to it, okay, it this time it won't tell you, 55 plus 7 is 63, all that. So 62, all that. It will tell 557. So if you have a string, whatever the number you are adding, okay, it'll become a string. It will not be treated as a number. Okay, but if this is actually 5, then the output will be 12 plus 5, that is then 17. Okay, so yeah, this is how it works. So if there is at least one string, it will become a string. So that's something you have to remember. Again, you can add strings before, you can add strings after. So suppose if I want to print hi, uh, uh, so everywhere you want to use, you have to put, okay, something like this, b. So I can add one more. So yeah, so I have a system output statement like this. So what it does is it evaluates B to testing and it evaluates C to check. So it will append all these things and make it as a sentence. So let's try to print it now. So guys, I know this might be a little slow for some people, but yeah, this is how it is. Again, if you want to add spaces, so this is not readable, so I can add spaces here. I can add space here. I can add space here. Yeah. But yeah, but there are a lot of people who are just starting, so it will be good for them. So yeah, hi testing many bytes, check my channel, all that. So if you want to print all these things, okay, you can use plus operator in the front as well as in the back, and then you can append to a string. Okay, there is also a string.format method, but we will come to that later. But for now, this is more than enough. Good. We have understood till here, but there are cases where you have to also have one value that is true or false. Okay, so we have integer, we have string data type, we can also have Boolean. This Boolean means, okay, Boolean d equal to, you can have either true or false. Okay, if there is a situation that you need to store a true or a false, you need to have a data type called as Boolean. Okay, Boolean is a primitive data type. I'll come to what is primitive and all later, but for now, imagine this is also like a integer container. So here, see, imagine whenever you are using a data type, you can imagine like a container in your kitchen. Okay, imagine integer is like a container where you are storing a chili powder. Okay, Boolean is another container of different size where you are storing only true or false. Okay, imagine like that. Okay, I have a small diagram to mimic that. So if you notice, this is how you have to treat it. Okay, this small box can be an integer. Okay, so where you can only store integer data types. Okay, this is a Boolean box where you can store only true or false. Okay, and there is another box where you can store a different string. Okay, so different data types indicates these containers can only be used for storing that particular data type. Okay, you cannot store any other things in that. Okay, good. And yeah, apart from this, okay, you can also write some logics, okay, with the help of if. Okay, if is again very widely used, so we can understand how to use this. Okay, let's say I want to have int uh, let's remove all that. So, so let's say int b equal to 10, int c equal to 15. I have something like this. Okay, now only int if a equal to 5, I want to add these two. But if a equal to 6, I want to subtract these two things. Okay, if that's my requirement. Okay, so then you cannot, how we will write this logic. So you have to put if condition. Okay, then open the bracket. So this bracket indicates whatever you want to evaluate. So what I want to evaluate is, so my condition is if a is equal to 5, Then I want to perform addition of B and C. If A is not 5, maybe, then I want to perform subtraction or multiplication, whatever. So I want to perform multiplication of B and C. Okay, so this is what I want to do. So I need to write a code for this. So this is a, we call it as a pseudo algorithm or something like this, because we have to first break it down into very simple words so that we can understand. Okay, now I want to check whether A is equal to 5. Okay, then you can type if A equal to, sorry guys, equal to 5. Okay, which means I'm comparing if A is equal to 5. Okay, if it is equal to 5, okay, you have to open the brackets, close it. Okay, so if you notice, there is open bracket, close bracket. So if it's equal to 5, I want to add it. Okay, adding in the sense I want to add B plus C. Good. So if is this okay, fine. If it is not equal to 5, then I want to perform multiplication. So for that, you can add if A. So for not equal to, there is one symbol called as this. So if you notice A not equal to, so which means equal to means it will compare whether it's equal to. If it is not equal to, it will use the person the exclamation mark and then the equal to. So if it is the case, then I want to do B star C. So this is good, right? So it is now 5. So it will only go here. So first it will go here, check it. If this satisfies, if this condition is true, if it is satisfying, then it will execute the code in this particular block. Okay. Next it will go to this line. There is nothing to execute. It will go to this line. It will evaluate whether A is not equal to 5. But in our case, A is 5. So this is false. So it will not execute this block of code. It will not execute this block of code. So this block of code will not be executed. Okay. So let's try to see the output and let's understand. So it's very fast. So it printed 25 because as expected, this matched. So now if it is not 5, let me put it as 6. It's multiplied. Good. So this is all good. So but you have to remember one thing. One is the starting point is always this. Your code will start from this block line. It will execute sequentially. It will not go execute this first. It will come here. No, it will not work like that. It will execute for line wise. Okay, one by one line. Okay, it will execute like this. Now I want to understand this at the slow motion. Okay, you want to debug if there is something wrong. You want to see what is happening at the runtime. Okay, you want to really go slow. You don't want to directly print the output. So in this case, you can just put a point here. Okay, and then you can click on this, and instead of the play button, you can click on this the debug button. Okay, it's look like a bug. So it's like a small bug. So you have to click on that. So what happens when you click on this? So the program comes and stops here. Okay, it waits for you to go ahead and go ahead. So only when you tell okay execute next statement, it will execute it. So let's see, there is a button here called a step over. I am just clicking on it. So now this particular statement is executed and A is assigned with the value of 5. Okay, and also you can see in the bottom also A is 5. Now let's click on one more time. Now it has, this statement has assigned the 10 to this particular variable B. So now the B value is 10. So this is also we can see here. So let's also execute one more statement. Now if you notice C becomes 15. Yeah, C is also 15. Now see, it's telling A is 5. Okay, and if I try to evaluate this, okay, so if you notice, this basically implies A is 5. So it entered here and then B value is 10, C value is 15 this time. So 10 plus 15 will be 25. If I execute this, so the 25 will be printed in the console. So 25 is printed in the console. Okay, let's go to the debugger again. So now it's trying to evaluate this. Okay, so you can also select this, and then you can also do evaluate expression. So here, if you notice, it will try to evaluate this and then show us the output. See, when I try to evaluate, when the program tried to evaluate this, A is not equal to 5. It's returned a false. So it's a Boolean, right? So it's a true or false. So if it is a false, okay, if you try to execute again, so it didn't enter here. Okay, it skipped this 18th line of code. Okay, and then it went to the last block. Okay, then you can normally run this program. So yeah, output is basically 25. Okay, it's what we got. So this is how we can go line by line and then try to debug and understand what's happening. Okay, if you want to, if it is a very simple statement, so you can evaluate this, okay, easily with your naked eyes. Hey Amudan, what is there, why you are evaluating this? Because I know 5 is not equal to 5. Okay, it will anyways return false. Yeah, it's very easy to evaluate, so no problem. But if there is a complex expression, okay, it will be very difficult for you to do your logic on your mind. So at that time you can use Intellij to debug what's happening in that expression. Okay, for now I think we are done. I'll come to what is if and else block, if else if, all those things in our next session. But until then you can practice till here. Okay, this is very important. Whatever I have covered so far is very important. Please practice till here, and then we will continue with our next class on Tuesday, 7 a.m. IST. Okay, if you have any doubts you can ask me now. Otherwise we will see one of the issue asked by a participant. Yeah, any doubts so far?
No.
No, Matan.
Good. Uh, uh, Maybe I hope someone asked me, you are not seeing a run
Yeah,
button, right? So maybe can you show
yeah,
your screen? I'll give you the access. You can share your
yeah.
screen, and then let's try to solve that issue.
No, actually, this result actually,
Okay, it's resolved.
yeah. Maybe
Okay.
what I did is initially I just saw the button in ups, like look in the toolbar, but you are doing from the left side, right?
Yeah.
So after doing from the main button,
Yeah.
I
The first time you have to do it from here. Once you do it from here, you can see it here. Okay.
correct.
This option will only come. Okay. It is like your recently ran configuration. Okay. At least try to run it once from the left menu, and after that it will come on your top side. Okay, it is like a recent run option. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. I didn't notice that you are running
yeah,
from
no
the.
problem. It's all happening for the first time, so it's pretty common. Yeah, so no worries. If there is any more doubt I can answer, please go ahead and ask your questions.
So then I have one question.
Yeah.
So in the seventh line, you mentioned a value is integer, right? So it's you assigned
5.
a value is 5.
Yeah.
So you and next line, if you assign a value of you assign the value float, and the value you assign for 45. What will happen? How the program will
So
work?
the program will not run. So it tell, see we have told, hey, I'm gonna store a data type of int in this A. So we have stored 5, it didn't throw it in error. But while reassigning the value, okay, suppose if I mention 9, it'll not throw an error, because 9 is also an integer, so it will not throw an error. But if I try to assign a decimal, okay, it'll throw error, because we told, okay, I'm going to store integer type here, but we are actually storing double type. So to answer your question, you can reassign value that is integer like 10, 11 without any decimal points again to A, but you cannot assign a decimal. Okay, if you want to assign a decimal, you have to change this to double. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good. So whenever you have a doubt, okay, you also need to practice yourself. So it's very important that you try it yourself. Okay, int a equal to 5, you put it yourself, and then you try to reassign the value to some other things. Okay, if I try to put 56.2, or if I try to assign a string value to this, okay, I will assign some string value like this. Okay, so it is obviously throwing me error because we have told, we, when it is variable, we are only allowed to change the values to this data type of same type. Okay, you cannot assign a different data type like string or double to integers. Okay, that's very important.
Okay.
You
My
can
friend
imagine. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The 12th line, did you give the space between A and equal
Yeah,
equal?
it's not important to use space. You can use space or you don't have to use space. It doesn't matter. I used space because it will be more readable to see it. But it's not really important. You mention you have a space or you don't have space. It doesn't cause any issues. It's all same.
It will common for Eclipse as well, right?
Yeah, it is common for Eclipse as well.
Okay, thank you.
So the space doesn't matter. Good. Yeah, that's all from my side. We will connect again on Tuesday, guys, 7 a.m. IST. I'll share the recordings as soon as possible. Please practice if you haven't done that so far. You have Sunday and Monday to practice. We'll come back and we'll get started with more topics. We may be getting started with Selenium. I'm not going to bore you with testing Java anymore. So we're going to head start with Selenium. I'll try to add more knowledge on Java whenever possible. Yeah, so that's how the flow going to be. If you have any doubts, you can feel reach out to me. Thanks, guys.